Welcome to another episode of Business Inspired GY, and today we will be speaking with Michelle Cole, one of Guyana's top fashion designers. Michelle has made a name for herself both locally and internationally. She's back home for a short stint, and today we will be speaking with her about fashion, her journey, and one of her daughters who has been making a name for herself in the US. Michelle, thanks again for speaking with us. And how does it feel being back home at this time?
Um, Actually exciting because I'm about to start on something that I was planning for a couple of years now, which is the relaunch of ColeFacts showroom in Guyana. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time.
So when can we expect that showroom to be open?
I would say next year, mid next year.
And what it is, I know the Guyanese are accustomed to your work, and well, you've been off the scene for some time. You've migrated.
Yes,
But
I have.
but coming back, what can we expect from Michelle Cole?
So, actually, when I left Guyana, I'm known for, pageant, special events, but I also have the ColeFacts resort line. So one of the things that is going to be new to the showroom now is ColeFacts weddings. So that's a new addition since I've migrated there. So I have a whole line that's designated just for weddings. Weddings, wedding decor, wedding planning, all of that.
How do you think you're going to impact the fashion landscape when you get back?
I hope positively. So for me, it's even though I left physically, I've still been doing work in Guyana. For instance, on this trip, I'm actually fitting a bride, and her wedding is coming up soon. So, and I've been coming back and forth in preparation for what I'm doing now. ColeFacts Weddings was launched in Guyana at the Guyana Fashion Showcase May 2019. So that would have been the first time Guyana would have seen a bridal collection from ColeFacts. Yeah.
If we can talk about the local fashion industry, you are one of the persons, for a number of years, you have made a major impact on that industry. When you look at or when you see what has been happening, how do you feel?
Actually, for instance, you remember the FACS program?
Mm-hmm.
So that FACS program that was launched in 2005, I think it was. My aim at that time was to try to motivate and encourage young people who wanted to be a part of the fashion industry and maybe didn't know how to start. Because when I started, I had no idea. I basically had to create a path for myself. So that was the basis, the background for FACS, why it was started. And Randy Madre, Mwanza Glenn, Clinton Duncan all came from that FACS program, who are really making waves in the fashion industry. So I would say I'm very proud to know that I was a part of that beginning. And you can't speak of fashion without hearing Randy Madre right now.
Exactly.
And he's actually was the last FACS winner.
Wow.
Yes.
So will we see a resurgence of that when you're back fully?
More than likely, because it's something that I've discussed with, actually something that they've discussed with me. Because they know, for them, they understand what it brought to them. And, they've been telling me that there's a lot of young people here now who has that same passion that they have, who could probably be the fashion stars, for another couple of years. So I think it's a program that I definitely will revisit.
How do you feel about Guyanese now being more interested in the work of local designers?
That's what we were trying to achieve forever. So when you try over the years to encourage people to appreciate local, because the local fashion designers are just as good as any, but people are now getting that appreciation for something made from a Guyanese designer. So it's like full circle for me. Like that's what the achievement that we were all trying for over all the years. So it's good to see it happening now. Yes.
Given where we are now, do you think that there is anything that is lacking in the industry that should be or that could be improved?
I think Guyana has quite a few good fashion designers. I think what is lacking is more of a fashion industry, because fashion designing is it's just one part of the fashion industry, but it's made up of photographers, models, designers, stylists, people who manufacture, reproduce, sketch artists. So a cohesive fashion industry, I think, is what's lacking, and it's definitely something I will, consider working on.
If we can talk about Michelle Cole, the person, when you migrated, your children were small.
Yes.
You're back now. You basically have
one teenager. Yes.
Yes. So
one teenagers and two almost teenagers. Yes.
So what have you been, I know that you're still in the industry,
Yes.
but could you tell us what it is you've been up to?
Well, I would say for the first few years I was a mommy first, because when you have three babies, 3 kids in 5 years, so for the first couple of years I was first a mommy, and but I always stayed in the industry, never left. I think when I left, my focus mainly was that's where ColeFacts weddings came about, because so to spend more time with the kids, I focused on weddings is a project that you work on, as opposed to working every day on little projects. So that's where the whole focus of ColeFacts weddings was spurted, and so I got to be. It afforded me the opportunity to be a mommy and still contribute meaningfully to the industry still.
Are your children involved in designing with you?
Well, the eldest one, she is. Yeah, she has her own label, The Obvious Rose, that was launched, trademarked 4 years ago. Yeah, so she has her own label, her own website. You can go buy her products as is already. Yeah, and the second one is very involved too. She, like Safari would say, she's my assistant, because everything the older one can do, she can do too, except she doesn't have a passion to be a fashion designer. But she's more into, we call her, sometimes my husband referred to her as a mad scientist. She's always mixing something, exploding my microwave. But for her, one of the projects that she'll be working on is our hair product line. So.
Wow.
So Z Summer Rose is already trademarked. It's going to be launched soon too.
As a mother and a businesswoman, looking at your children basically follow your footsteps, how does that make you feel today?
Like I did something right. It's actually very, very inspiring and heartwarming to have your children admire what you've done, and would like to travel. My daughter will say she's better than me, which I totally endorse, because when I started to where she started with a much better advantage than I did, and where she is today, I wasn't at her age, so she's right. By the time she's my age, yeah, she would have climbed many moons in the industry that I'm still climbing in. Yeah.
I know that you have always been into volunteerism, and you are, I think, a part of the Kupanda Sisters.
Yes.
If you can tell us about some of the work you've been doing as part of the organization.
So Kupanda Sisters is an organization that supports literacy among children, period, with a focus on children in underserved communities, because those children generally don't have access to technology and stuff like that, like the average middle upper class family would. So one of the things that Kupanda Sisters, which was founded by Cindy Charles, a good friend of mine, and one of the partnerships that she made, one of the strategic partnerships that she made, was with the World Literacy Organization, and they, together with Kupanda Sisters, agreed to donate tablets for the underserved community. That's a project that we'll be expanding September. So September, Coupon the Sisters founder Cindy Charles should be here along with me, and you'll hear a whole lot more about that. But as a project that we're actually, we're now wrapping it up. We started it in Safari School, but we'll be expanding to other schools as of September.
Oh.
Yeah.
If we can talk on women empowerment,
Okay.
how do you see the fashion industry empowering women, especially Guyanese women?
I think one of my things is dress how you feel. So for a woman, one of the things for us is if you feel good, you dress the part. So what you wear, if you wear how you feel, or you dress to create that image or mood that you're trying to set or you would like to be in, I think that's in itself is empowering. The fashion industry in Guyana, for a long time it was mainly women. Now there's a lot of men. Like for instance, like I said, Randy and M1s are to the top. Here they're men. So, but the fashion industry now is changing a lot. It's not just women; it's also men who have been at the forefront of fashion worldwide. But in Guyana, it was mostly women. But that's changing. So, women empowerment as a businesswoman, I would say, it's empowering, and it adds a lot of confidence to you as a person to know that you could create, do something that you love and get paid for it. So that in itself, it's very empowering.
What advice would you give to young people seeking to start their own businesses?
Learn everything you can about your trade. I think to be successful, you have to understand every aspect of it. It's like fashion designing is an art, is a craft, but if you don't understand the business aspect of it, then the term starving artist comes to mind, right? So I think to be successful, you have to understand both sides of whatever craft you want to be in. So if you want to be a fashion designer, learn every aspect of it, understand every aspect of it, and most of all, you have to have a clear understanding of how do you turn this into an income. And that's the business part of it that as artists sometimes we forget or we overlook. Yeah.
Well, Michelle, again, thank you very much for speaking with us.
Yeah.